Cool. Well, welcome to the show, Ricky. It's great to have you with us, Ricky Gleeson, in the house. Everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You take this very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're gonna have a great chat. It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
You've not come super far because we're actually in the northeast at the moment, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've come over from North Shields. Where are we now? Hewith or Hebburn?
Hewith. We're in a studio in somewhere in Newcastle. Yeah. So.
Yeah, just outside.
But our viewers and listeners actually are watching all over the place. So for those who are watching from further afield, it's north of Milton Keynes, north of London.
Yes.
So there's Londoners who think that London is the capital of the world. And it's also in the UK, some listening from overseas. Anyway, Ricky, great to have you with us. We met just a couple of, we chatted about a month ago, and one of our mutual friends said, you've got to have Ricky on the show. So it's really great to have you here.
All right, it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, cool, man. Great. Well, we're going to kick things off, as we always do, on the Inside Story, with a bit of an icebreaker. So if you would have three people from history, so not alive, three people from history that you want to have dinner with.
Dinner party.
Dinner party, yeah. So you and them three. And actually, of course, they're not with us anymore. But at the same time, you don't know how they're going to engage with each other, let alone yourself. Yeah. So give us your three people. Quick fire.
That's right on the spot. I think Hitler would be on there, you know.
Okay,
I've always said for one of my dinner parties.
Yeah, no. There's no judgment on this podcast.
No. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm just saying. I just think that, you know, interesting enough character to have at a dinner party. Who else? Einstein, maybe, and probably Darwin.
Great. So, what would be the reason for those three? If you had a reason,
they're just very interesting, aren't they? They're very brainy.
Yeah.
Well, Hitler not so much, but Hitler I'd have on just because, you know, I think there's an element of absolute craziness to him.
Yeah, I mean, historians say that he was an intelligent man, but he just used it for the wrong.
Yeah.
I guess used it for the wrong things. But
and then Darwin, just because of the fact that he sort of, you know, come up with the whole evolution thing, which was to pluck that from nowhere.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it's a theory, so he used that as a theory.
Yes, it is a theory.
Yeah.
And who knows if it's true?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we might dig into that later on.
But to be honest, you could, if you was to give me time to think about it, I'd change it.
Of course, yeah. Well, the idea is it's quick fire because if you think about it too much, you'll probably have 500 and then you have to boil it down.
Yeah.
But no, we've had some, believe it or not, we've had those three come up in different episodes because they are real, you know, amazing people and would be amazing to have in the same room. I often think with these kind of questions, it's one thing you wanted to meet them, but actually how would those three interact themselves? And that's the question that I think people often choose three that would really hate each other, so they'd just see an explosion.
Well, Einstein and Hitler would hate each other.
They would,
they'd absolutely despise each other.
No, there we go. Well, let's kick things off. As I was saying, it's great to have you with us. There's you know, how old are you now, Ricky?
I'm 49.
49 at the recording of this podcast in August 2026.
Yes,
the year of that. But a lot's happened in this 49 years, and tonight today we're gonna dig into some of that. And for our listeners, this is a 1 hour chat, so it's definitely not going to be going to the depths of everything that's gone on in Ricky's life. But I'm fascinated from our first chat as to some of the things that went on, and so I really want to dig down into kind of four or five key areas. We're going to hear, I'd love to just hear for our listeners, just your kind of a very top level overview of your kind of life up to now, where you grew up, you know, a bit about that and where you are now. And then we're going to do a deeper dive into things like the Navy. We're going to dig deeper into the time you were homeless. And some of the things that you're involved with now and the life-changing projects you're involved with. So let's kick things off. Give us a 3,000 feet overview for our listeners of Ricky Gleeson.
I suppose like I trade off my past a little bit with HoodEx and everything, and you know I use my story to catch people's attention as to what we're doing. But just that sort of stereotypical bad lad done good, if you like. Do you know what I mean? I was I tick all the boxes. I grew up in care, in and out of care, really turbulent childhood and lots of abuse going on. Moved around all over the place. Hence, you can probably hear from my accent, I'm not from up here. But
no, I was going to say you're not a Geordie.
No, I'm not. I'm an adopted Geordie. So I've been up here since I was 11. You know, on and off. So a long time. I went to school and everything.
Oh right, okay.
In South Shields, and you know my best friends all live up here.
Okay, so you've got the culture. You know what the culture is.
It's my home. Newcastle's. Newcastle. I grew up in South Shields, and you know I've got my roots there. But Newcastle's very much where I class as my home.
Great.
and I've lived here on and off, since I was a little kid.
Cool.
And then
you were in the care system?
I was in the care system. I got taken into care at like 4 and bounced around quite a lot until I was, I think, 8 or 9, came out and then went back into foster care in my sort of early teens here and there. And then homeless at 16, and then homeless pretty much on and off for 10 years. And lots of things that happen to homeless people, drug addiction, prison, young offenders, lots of petty crime, just a terrible, terrible time.
Was that all in the northeast? The
No. So it started in the northeast, and then I went back down to Slough, where I'm from originally.
London town, south of that.
Yeah, so I went. It's west of Heathrow. Mm-hmm. So I went back to Slough, and I sort of entered the hostel system, and got into a lot of trouble because I could give you a podcast on the hostel.
We're going to jump into that in a bit more detail later on.
Give you a podcast about how that system works and traps people within it. So
it's interesting because a few friends I've met recently in Newcastle, they've come off the streets.
Yes.
And I think I mentioned a guy to you I wanted to connect you with, who lives in or just now around Biker area actually. And I wanted to connect you because he's helping people get off the streets as well and into a new life, which is obviously what you're going to be talking about as well. But it is a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. People don't. When I explain how a hostel works and sort of the way it makes money and the way it relies on people being in them and not being able to work and not being able to sort of progress in order for everybody to get paid, a lot of people are really surprised, and it's been like that for 50, 60 years now. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you were 10 years. Basically homeless.
10 years
hostels and stuff.
On and off homeless, or right on the cusp of homelessness. Yeah. And then my mum committed suicide, which was not great. And I went back down south. Things calmed down a bit, and then
what age did she commit suicide then?
What age was she, or what age was I?
What age were you? Yeah,
I was 20. I was a few weeks before my 25th birthday.
Yeah, I mean it's a key time in life, isn't it?
She was 42.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah, young.
Yeah, young.
That is young. Yeah, so that happened, which wasn't great, and then I don't know. Fast forward a few years later, I fell into fitness and sort of boxing training and just sort of living a bit healthier from nowhere. Really, it happened slowly. And
that was down in London?
No, that was up here. I'd come back up here. I came back up here when I was 27, 28, okay. I think.
So you've done a lot of up and down in the UK.
So I was talking about this yesterday. I had 5 years in Cornwall, so my time in the Royal Navy sort of doesn't count because you move anyway.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never lived anywhere longer than 2 years.
Wow.
I was always moving from Newcastle down to Slough back up. I lived in Bristol for a bit.
It's very similar to like a lot of people who are in the army, aren't they? You know, their army lifestyle, moving around. But I guess for you, it was not specifically linked to the Navy. It was because of life circumstances
and it's still, I don't want to say a problem. It's still like part of my life is I'm very restless and I find it hard to.
So how long have you been in Newcastle so far? In the last spell?
Well, I left the Royal Navy in 2000 and what are we in now? I left in 2023, I think.
So 3 years you've been out.
Yeah, something like that. 3 or 4 years.
I would say that you're due a move. 2 years.
Well, I've moved 3 times myself. I've moved into a house, but then I separated from my long-term partner, my ex-wife, of 25 years. So I've moved 3 times since then, but I think that I've found the right place now.
Cool. Well, so we expect to see you around here for a bit more.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
No, awesome, man. So you were homeless, and then you got into boxing. Ironic, because we were actually
fitness, and a lot of it was around boxing training and in different gyms, and I got really fit. I got really, really fit in my sort of late 20s and early 30s, and then that changed a lot of things. I started holding down jobs a bit longer and became a bit more motivated, and then I hadn't been in trouble with the police for 10 years. So I took a chance and asked the Royal Navy if I could join the Royal Navy. That
was pretty remarkable. The fact that you actually got in to the Navy based on your kind of history up to then.
Yeah, I was really honest with them when I went in. I was really, upfront and said, I've got a lot of convictions.
Here's my CV.
Here's my CV. Yeah, and then somebody came down and had a sort of one-on-one interview with me. And I think he appreciated. I met up with him years later, but I think he appreciated the fact that
Well, you're honest, weren't you?
I just said, look, I messed it all up when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do now? And they let me in. And then at 32, I got into the Royal Navy. And
wow. I mean, would you say that's quite late for some people? People often go a bit earlier.
I was the oldest in my class.
Okay, there we go. Well, you got through. You
can join up until the day before your 38th birthday, which people don't realise. Wow. But still, most people join young. And
is that different to the army where you've got to go in a lot earlier?
No, it's the same. Yeah,
really,
so people don't
I think people maybe need some education on that.
Yeah. So you can join. You can join late.
Well, the state of our Navy, I hope you don't mind me saying, the state of our Navy at the moment, they could probably do with some more recruits to help.
There's a problem. It's not recruiting, it's retaining that's a problem.
Retaining, and obviously the investment in it.
Yeah,
we could talk a whole podcast on the investment.
I could easily.
But that's
I could give you all the reasons why people leave. Like, do you know what I mean? What they should do to sort it out. But so retain. But I mean, I know that I don't want to slag off the Navy, but I know that fleet-wise, I think a whole armed forces now can fit into Wembley Stadium. Yeah,
it's not ideal. But as we said, that's a separate conversation, and I'm sure there's lots of people talking about that.
Yeah.
But no, so you were in the you were kind of getting into fitness, and then you kind of then approached the Navy, got into the Navy, and spent 10 years in the Navy.
Spent 13 years in the Navy. Yeah, I said that I was going to do my minimum term.
Was that the minimum, 13?
No, my minimum term was like 3-4 years.
Oh, really? Right.
And that's what I went in intending to do. I intended to just do 3 or 4 years to get something on my CV and and before I knew it, it's shot by. It's shot by. It goes by so quick.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what made you leave the Navy and kind of move on to some of the things that you're doing now? 3 years you've been out.
By the end I was sick of it, man. Yeah. So I couldn't get promoted, so that was a bone of contention. But aside from that, I'd got everything I needed to get out of it. And I was at a position in life where I knew that if I didn't leave, because of my age, because I was older, if I didn't leave at the point that I left to go and do something else, I was kind of trapped because I would have been a little bit too old to find a new carear, if you know what I mean. So,
makes sense.
Well, it felt like that anyway. So
you had to make the move. And
so I left, and now I build wind turbines for a living.
Wow, what a turn! What a change! Yeah, no. Well, we're going to dig a bit more into that, and then of course we're coming to the kind of where you are now. You're doing turbine work. From what you said, you were doing kind of a few weeks on and a few weeks off, kind of getting that in the spare time, doing an amazing charity, which is one of the things we want to hear about. I guess the key where you are. The life's not over. But
my hobby.
Your hobby.
My hobby. Crazy hobby.
Yeah, cool. So it's called HoodEx.
Yeah, HoodEx. It started. I mean, I don't mind telling you the full spiel. It started. Me and Ian, when I left the Royal Navy, me and Ian worked for a national charity. I won't say their name or anything.
Ian's a mutual friend of ours, isn't he? Yeah,
yes. So Ian and I started this project in Newcastle, where it ended up that I was the manager of a shop that we sort of created in the city centre, and then I ended up with a lot of young offenders in that shop helping me run it, and for something for us to do, I then used the money that we were making and paid for everyone to come boxing training with me at O'Toole's gym, which is in Byker.
Wow, okay.
Byker, and a guy.
Paint the picture for people who don't know about Byker. What's it like? And O'Toole's, is that a key gym there?
Yeah, I mean, Byker is.
Most people know about it because of Byker Grove.
Byker Grove's not filmed in Byker. It was filmed.
Sadly.
It was filmed the other side of Newcastle. But no, Byker. I mean, people describe it as pretty rough. It is what it is. It's. I like it as a high street. It's quite busy, but it is quite rough. I know there's been a couple of stabbings. There was a murder there.
Recently, was it?
A couple of months ago,
good.
somebody was killed. And it's not an affluent part of Newcastle. No. And then the gym that I took them to, I was being trained by a friend of mine called Grant Malloy. He used to be on Geordie Shore, and now he's a personal trainer, and he fights. Wow. He fights on the bare knuckle scene. And that gym had a lot of boxers in it who box on the unlicensed scene. And when I took the lads there, it was sort of a bit of an eye opener for them.
What does that mean, unlicensed scene?
you've got amateur boxing,
Okay.
and then you've got non-amateur boxing. So
Okay.
it's not.
So licenses essentially you can go and do professional boxing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know,
So it's not.
Tyson Fury
It's
and all
not.
that,
If you've got visions of unlicensed being in some dingy,
Okay.
it's nothing like that. It's still very, very organised. It's just that people haven't got a pro license.
Okay, cool. So it's amateurs. It's not.
You know what I mean. It's just.
And are they making money from that or not?
Yeah, they make money from it, and the
Really?
fighters make money as well, depending on how many tickets they sell,
Well,
etc.
right.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
So what's then the difference with the pro having a license? What's kind of the benefits for that versus? Is it just they do that for a living, as in the full time?
Well, amateur boxing generally, you would say that amateur boxing is far more technical and far, better, if you like.
Right, okay.
That pedigree, and then into the pros, it's a different pedigree. Unlicensed for people that have got jobs and stuff that they need to get to, can't commit to things like that. But there's big shows, down at sort of the FedEx down in Gateshead.
Wow,
they sell out arenas.
Yeah, no, I've always. I've had a few friends that have said, challenge me to a white collar. Hasn't happened yet, but at some point in life that might happen. You never know. But I think for me, if I was to do it, I'd have to, take it very seriously, just because.
Oh yeah, boxing wise, I've had a few white collars, and then I had one unlicensed fight not long ago.
Right.
And that'll do me.
So you're still boxing now, then?
I train.
Okay.
Yeah, I train. I spar. I just, I like the training, but I don't know.
But you don't want to get connection from someone who's.
No, the last fight I had, I got stopped with like 2 seconds left.
Oh. You've had enough, yeah. No. You don't need that.
Yeah, I don't need that. I think I look all right for my age.
Yeah, you look great. You look great.
Looks.
No, okay, right. So because it was interesting, we were actually going to do this recording in the new boxing ring that you were developing at your studio. Yeah. So tell us where we are now. Give us a top level picture of where we are now. You've talked about HoodEx. And what's the idea of HoodEx now? Because you talked about Ian and
so at HoodEx essentially what I've got is a clothing store downstairs that's selling streetwear and hoodies. That's how it all started, and we sell. It's a vintage shop that we're running downstairs, selling lots of 90s hoodies and 90s t-shirts and retro gear and good quality sportswear. And then we also want to put our own branded gear into it as well, which we were making previously when this was the same project but a different life, if that makes sense. So when it was the CIC, we were making and printing our own hoodies. So we'll get those back in, and then we've taken over a building in North Shields, right opposite the metro station, which is quite a prominent building. Right. It used to be a very famous butcher's, and we've took over that building. We've gutted it, renovated it with no money. It's been horrible.
So everyone knows it as a butcher's,
everyone knew it as a very famous butcher's, Holt's the Butcher's.
So is the talk of the town kind of it's being changed? Everyone.
Yeah, a lot of people were really pleased because that building had sat empty for 6 years.
Really? Okay.
So we convinced the council to give us it for free, but free turns out costs quite a lot of money.
It's one thing getting the building; it's another thing transforming it, isn't it?
And even getting the building for free apparently, costs a few grand.
I guess they don't understand the word FRE.
Yeah, their version of free and my version of free are totally different things. So we got it, and we've renovated the bottom. We've got a cafe downstairs. We've got a clothing shop downstairs with a seating area, some settees and everything.
Cool.
And the idea is that we run that with young people who are at risk of offending, or those already caught up in that lifestyle.
So people that you can relate to.
Yeah.
People that you can see they're very early on in that journey.
Yeah. So them and some ex-offenders as well. Okay. So maybe some older heads that have sort of been around the block. We run that, and then upstairs we haven't finished. We've pretty much got the bones of a boxing gym, and that's being run by a level 2 amateur England coach.
Wow. Okay.
Who's going to be creating a proper amateur boxing club up there in its own right. And the idea is that everybody that helps run the shop then filters upstairs to get the training for free.
So they can't escape getting into the ring, essentially.
They don't have to get into the ring.
Okay.
They have to train.
Right.
They don't.
So training is very different to being in the ring.
Very different. Okay. Nobody has to fight. Nobody. And we've worked with people that they don't want to get in the ring and spar. Right. We've worked with a lot of people that don't want to spar, etc., to start with, but eventually they sort of see it and they get a little bit of taste for it, and then as soon as they do it.
The thing I'm just cautious about is, do I come to your shop and then get pulled into the ring?
No.
So all of a sudden I'm kind of faced with 60 now.
Yeah, no, it's a normal. there's normal classes as well that we want to put on,
Cool.
just circuits and stuff for people that don't want to do that. But the idea is they've got to get fit while they're sort of working there. And then on top of that, the HoodEx charity as a whole, it's a mentoring charity, and in the community, there's a project called the Turnaround Project where we've got lots of volunteer mentors, and we take referrals from different agencies, and we pair up young people to specified mentors that have got the same interests, and then they go out in the community and
do experience and get experience.
Do this and that. But the gym's always there. I concentrate on the gym and the shop side of it, and then
so the gym is a key aspect of. That physical aspect of getting them involved.
We've called it the hub, which is what it is. It's called the hub, the HoodEx hub, and
does this involve male and female mentors and stuff?
Male, female mentors and beneficiaries.
Amazing.
It's very mixed.
Ricky, wow! So we've got a 30,000 view there. Yeah. I want to dig a bit deeper now into these areas, so our listeners can really understand, some of what's happened in your life, some of your experiences. We'd love some key stories. If you have, of course, you have many stories, but it'd be great to have some of those nuggets if you want to share them. But yeah, jumping in. So when you were growing up, you said that you obviously lost your mum when she was 42. You were 20.
24.
24. Sorry, yeah. And how was it for you growing up with like male and female role models? Was it just your mum? Did you have a male role model in your life?
Do you know what? I heard some comedian do a joke the other day, and it resonated a lot.
Right.
My mum was a single mum, but I don't remember her being single very much.
Right. Yeah.
So,
do you think that's a common thing?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that it's an issue. But that was that. I mean, I had no good male role models growing up. I had a succession of terrible male role models, and there's no point in pretending that my mum was a good mum because you don't get taken into care. No. If she is, so do you know what I mean? So it's Was
it something, Ricky, that she had a similar upbringing?
She had a terrible upbringing.
So it's kind of a knock-on,
way worse than mine.
A knock-on effect, then.
Yeah, way worse than mine, and so did her siblings, and that knocked on to some of my cousins. They they're her brothers and sisters. Or I won't talk for them because they're not here, but. Her generation of the family had a terrible upbringing, way worse than mine. And like you said, that was a knock-on effect that they all sort of entered adulthood completely unable to. My mum, in particular, completely unable to raise a child properly. She was still a child herself, like she had been 17. So
I mean, there's so many things to learn at 17, aren't there? And in terms of male role models, without mentioning names, where did you kind of go for that? Was it kind of the boxers or what was it?
No, nothing. No, I didn't have any. I didn't have any. I had just negative role models.
So it was a huge void.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I had over the years probably 3 stepdads, and I hated them all. So I think 2 down, 1 to go, maybe. I think 1's still alive. So
Right. Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't have any sort of positive male role models. I had, when I moved up here, my best friend since school, who we're still best mates now, his family, sort of half Greek family from South Shields. They very much the sort of role models that I look to for how a family is supposed to behave. Right, do you know what I mean? And what a family unit really looks like.
Father, mother, strong characters.
Father, siblings getting into trouble but not being disowned. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Kids being nurtured, not,
a family unit.
Yeah, family unit. Absolutely. Yeah, real family unit. So I've always sort of, give props to my friend and his family that. Yeah.
Is that so? Just while we're on that, in terms of your background, what's your heritage?
So I'm half Indian. I'm mixed race, but I've never met my dad.
Really? Wow.
So my dad was Indian from Slough. My mum got pregnant to him at 16. Right. He split. I've never met him.
You've never met him?
I've seen a picture of him. Don't know anything about him.
You've never seen a picture of him?
Never seen a picture of him.
Wow. Okay. If someone came to you and said, "I'm your dad," how would you respond?
Well, I mean, there was a point where I did find him sort of through Facebook and sent a message he didn't want to know. I'm not looking for a dad at 40. If he came and spoke to me, I would sit down and have a cup of coffee with him and say, "It's nice to meet you," but I wouldn't.
You can't attest anything to him.
No, do you know what I mean? And it's not. I wouldn't be angry. I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be. It's just like, oh, great, you're my dad's. Okay, sounds.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, because I've spoken to a few people and everyone's different, of course, and some people have more engagement and they kind of search for their father in different ways, and it's I think it's personal opinion, isn't it, and personal choice.
Yeah. I think that what would be weird is sort of linking into that Asian culture side of me that I'm not part of. I'm not part of the Asian community.
You're totally kind of separate from that.
Yeah, I'm not part of the Asian community. Yeah, okay. My ex-wife is, and my children definitely. We both want them to be, so they are. They go to a Sikh temple and things like that. Cool. I'm really happy that that's part of their life, but it's not part of my life.
No, yeah. It has been. So you'd say culturally you're from an Indian background, but
culturally I'm a lower class British male.
Right. Okay.
That's when you look at my childhood, that's what I was. I was a lower class British white male almost.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
in all the things that sort of society's problems at the moment with young British white men.
Yeah.
What I went through as a young British brown-skinned man, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow.
It's quite interesting.
It's fascinating you mentioned about the so was it Sikhism or Hinduism? Sikhism you were involved with. Was that something you experienced growing up, being involved in that, or
no?
Was it more your culture rather than your actual faith?
What do you mean?
Like, as in you grew up in a Sikh community?
No. I'm saying I'm not part of. Yeah, I'm not part of the Sikh community. I'm not part of the Asian community. I never was. I've always just been part of the white community. Okay. I just happen to be brown. Gotcha. But my kids are part of the Sikh community. They are. They do go to the Sikh temple. Their mum does. They speak. But my ex-wife speaks fluent Punjabi.
Really? Wow.
All of her family do.
Wow.
So my kids are around that, and they know that they're Asian, do you know what I mean? And they sort of feel part of that community.
That's nice.
It's got nothing to do with me, that community.
Yeah. And was that a choice of you not being involved?
No, it's not a choice. No, it's not a choice. I grew up on a white council estate with a white single mum in South Shields, so
Yeah, I guess as far as you in many respects can be from.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's just not part of my life.
No, it's
I look really Indian.
Yeah, so if you ended up there, you'd be fine.
So when I'm around lots of Indian people, lots of people
assume
that I'm fully Indian, and then I get talked to, and it doesn't take long before
then you open your mouth and they realise
thinking there's something's a little bit off.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. No, cool. Well, we're going to take a break there.
Yes,
and we'll be back shortly with the next bit of our conversation.
Okay.
This episode of the Inside Story podcast is proudly sponsored by Bread Media. For all your content creation, social media management, documentary and commercials, contact Bread Media on all social channels and find out how they can serve you. Great, so welcome back, guys. We're on the Inside Story podcast. We've got Ricky Gleeson with us. It's great to have you back here, Ricky. We were just talking earlier just about your upbringing and, obviously people think that you might be part of the Indian community, but actually you're as white as they get from a cultural point of view. Culturally. And that's a really important thing to understand, I think, for people. People make so many assumptions, don't they, in life, and I think that's really good it's important for people to know and to get to know you for who you are,
Yeah.
No, awesome, cool. So jumping back into doing a deeper dive into your upbringing. So you end up being homeless for a bit of time.
For a long time.
10 years, up and down the country. Yeah. Can you tell us what it was like being homeless? And does that, for people who don't know, is homeless being in a hostel, or is that actually being on the street?
I mean, for me, there's many different versions of homelessness, and I've done all of them. Living on the street, living in a hostel, you're homeless. Sofa surfing is awful. Just being, even sort of being shabbily housed. So I was homeless for 10 years. I would say that shaped my character more than anything else. Mm-hmm. That defines who I am as a human being.
Wow.
The fact that I was homeless.
And what were some experiences of being homeless that you had? Have you got any stories of, when you were, sleeping on the street or something, or sleeping in a hostel? Any crazy stories?
It's just crap. Yeah. It's just, what I mean? It's not, and especially when you're young, that's it. Most homeless people are young. And it removes you from mainstream society. You're not part of it. You get left behind completely. And Yeah. So, I mean, it happened. I was young. I think there's things in place now to stop things like that happening. But when I was young, there was lots of us that were like 16, 17. And moving into a hostel where I moved into a hostel in particular in Slough. And it was lots of damaged young people living in one roof, unsupervised with not enough support. And it was just, it was chaos. It was hard. It was hard living, and we all got into lots of trouble together, and we all struggled together, and a lot of our morals sort of disappeared, and we ended up quite nasty and angry at the rest of the world. So
I guess without a kind of father and a mother figure in those moments, it's like just free roam, I guess, with kind of
free roam. Yeah, for me, like I started stealing food, and then stealing food from pizza shops and stuff. That was how I started getting into trouble with the police, and from there I then started stealing cigarettes, and then I started burgling houses, and then my morals just disappeared, and I became sort of angrier and angrier, and just not a very nice person.
Crazy.
And snatching handbags, mugging people, and your self-esteem shot to pieces. I always think it's really mad how, I was at 17, I was in a young offenders institution, and like I said, I was doing all of these horrible things and living this terrible life. And at 14, 15, you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I had an answer for you. And now you think to myself, like, I'm 49, let me plan ahead for the next couple of years, which I do. Because it's a very short time. Do you know what I mean? So from 49 to 51, it's not long. 52, it's not long at all. And I can make genuine plans, and I know that will come around really quickly. And my life won't change that much. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'll be a gradual, but from 14 to 17, my life completely changed.
It's a key transition period in life.
Yeah. And I went from, you go from being a kid in school, so all of a sudden I was homeless in the adult world. And I talk about that sort of British male thing, and and it's still the same now, and it might not be comfortable for people to hear, but if you're a British born male and you go along and you're homeless, you're the bottom of the pile. Like, everybody is ahead of you. Drug addicts are ahead of you. Any asylum seekers are ahead of you.
Wow.
And it's always been like this. I understand females, I understand pregnant women, but it used to just be a case of you're on your own. Like,
so you were saying about the hostel system. Is that what you're referring to there? I guess with the
eventually I got into a hostel. I'm talking about flats and stuff, trying to get somewhere actually proper to live, because a hostel isn't somewhere proper to live. But I will talk about the hostel thing, if that's all right.
Go for it, yeah.
Because I do think that people need educating. So most hostels are owned by a charity, and there was one in particular in Newcastle at the bottom of Westgate Road that I was one of the first residents in a long time ago. And the way that a hostel like that works is that it will be owned by a charity. There's lots of staff there who are support workers. When you move into it, you get a room, little showers, usually a single bed. And the rent on that is £1,500 a month. And that gets covered by housing benefit. And housing benefit will pay that much because it's supported accommodation. So that's the key word, is that it's supported accommodation.
You're not just by yourself. Yeah.
And that support is in the sort of form of these workers that live in that hostel. But you can't go to work, because if you go to work, you have to pay £1,500 a month. So when you move into a hostel, you're told basically, don't go to work. Otherwise, you'll have to pay full rent. And there's people that end up living in those situations for 4 or 5 years at a time. Most of the hostels now are just full of kids that have come out of the care system, and that's the next stage. Yeah. And then, they just go into this environment where they're told, don't go to work. You can't go to work. You can't afford to go to work. If you go to work, you have to pay us the full rent. That hostel that I was in had 75 rooms. 75 rooms all get £1,500 each month for every resident. And then you're like, well, what's it paying for? It's paying for the support, it's paying wages. That's what it's doing. It's paying for the staff wages. And I'm keen to say that the staff go into that. They go into that industry which it is now. You know, they go in with the best intentions. They don't go in thinking, "Oh, I'm going to make money off of homeless people." They go in thinking, "Right, I'm going to help homeless people. I'm going to go and work in a hostel and be a support worker and help these young people." But the whole system for me is just flawed, because there was one lad in there particularly. He was exactly like anybody that I'd met in the military. He was just this young lad that had been living in this hostel for 4 years.
4 years. That's a
4
long
years.
time.
Yeah, 4 years. He was 24 years old, you know, and he hadn't worked for 4 years. And I sort of was saying to him, because I got a job there basically. I got a job there. I lasted 6 days and I quit. And I quit
at the hostel.
Yeah, at that same hostel. So when I got a job there, and it was like this good story, like, oh, full circle. I used to be a resident here, and now I'm a member of staff. And I lasted 6 days because as soon as I got in, I was like, oh, I remember this. This is bullshit.
And it was triggering, probably.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was triggering. I just know that as soon as I got there, I thought, I remember this. This is bullshit. This doesn't work.
You don't want to be part of it.
I don't want to be part of it. And
you could have got out, and now you don't want to be back.
Yeah, I didn't want to be part of that system. That, you know, when I said to him, like, because I was really upfront with him, I said, "What are you doing? Like, you're just sitting there getting pissed on a Tuesday afternoon and stuff." Like, because he was really sound, this lad. He was no different than anybody that I'd been in the military with, and we ended up becoming friends. And you know, he came and helped me in the shop in Newcastle. He was like one of the first people, and we got him fit, and then just sort of got in his ear and was like, "You've got to get out of there." But the way that it was working, again, sorry to keep going on about it, they were keeping him there with the promise that they would then move him into one of their own flats. That again, it was £1,500 a month for that 2-bedroom flat, when a flat next door was $600 a month. So he still couldn't go to work, and it's just this really stupid
cycle. It's a hard cycle to get out of.
It keeps you there.
Yeah, wow. And would you say this is the same around the whole of the UK?
That's how hostels work. It's the same everywhere. Supported accommodation.
Yeah, I think for those who are maybe listening and maybe all they're aware of is the hostel being used as like a youth hostel. Very different from a youth hostel.
It's very different.
It's not in a nice barn in the Yorkshire Dales.
No.
This is in a city often.
And it's just, for me, I understand. It's great that there's a place that can offer all these young people a room, which is great. It's the fact that when they get there, you can't go to work. And I don't understand. So
they're not wanting to help you out there. It's basically they're kind of keeping you in the system.
You're there because
very challenging,
everyone needs to get paid. And like I said, the amount of money, when there's 75 rooms and everybody's got £1,500, and this lad had been there for 4 years, and I remember bringing it up, and they was like, "Oh, it's paying for the support." I'd just come out of the armed forces. So my first question was, you've had £1,500 a month for 4 years, and he hasn't got his driving licence. So it was just a little thing like that where they sort of were like, "Oh, right, yeah, you might have a point." So I don't know what the support was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally hear you. Yeah. So Ricky, how did you get out of the hostel and out of the homeless kind of cycle?
Just, I don't know, man. You just got to keep trying. You keep going and you keep going. And
as in getting a different job, or like
different jobs, and then sort of after my mum died, I went down to stay with some family. And almost, I suppose, got a little bit of stability in that, you know, people looked after me a bit for a few years. And then I lied my way into some work. I could get a job washing dishes. That was all I could ever find a job doing. And my ex-wife was always working in call centres, and I wanted to do that. So I looked for some call centres that had gone bust in the Slough area, and I put them on my CV and said that I'd worked at them. And I sort of had 2 or 3 different...
A hustler.
Yeah, 2 or 3 different places that I knew couldn't be checked out because they didn't exist anymore.
They didn't exist, yeah.
And I put those on my CV, and my friend was my reference, and then I got into a call centre, and I sort of... that felt better than washing dishes.
Crazy.
And
I think a key thing we're pulling out here is that resilience is really trying hard to get out of that system of being in the hostel. You didn't want to be homeless.
No.
You wanted to be probably in a house and working hard, but it was just the system wasn't helping you.
I mean, I made some terrible choices as well. Like, you know, all the petty crime that I committed. That's on me.
That was during the time you were in the hostel.
That was the hostel. That was from like 17 to 20, 21.
And this goes back to role models, doesn't it? You know, without having those role models in your life, it's who you're looking up to. It's hard, you know. We're going to move on now to the kind of next portion. You kind of grew up in care, then you were in the homeless for 10 years, up and down the country. So you must know the country pretty well now.
Yeah, I know pretty well. Yeah.
But so you then kind of got into a phase where you were really getting deep into fitness.
Yes.
And then fitness boxing, was that?
Yeah, I came after my mum died. I disappeared for 3 years down south. I came back. like I said, I was holding jobs down a bit better. And then, but I was also using various charities, and one of the charities had an agreement with a boxing gym in town that they were putting on a weekly circuit,
right,
for sort of us that were involved in that charity.
Right.
And I started going to that. It was really hard, and I'd never done anything like that before. But it didn't take long before I was, first of all, I just wanted to get all the way around the circuit and do all the pads and everything, and just make it round. Do you know what I mean, in one go? Yeah. And then it didn't take long before I could do that. And then I went once on my own, and nobody else. So I went once to one of those sessions, and nobody else turned up. It was just me. So I ended up getting a one-on-one session, and about 3/4 of the way through it, the guy was like, "You're naturally fit. Like that's what's got you through things. You haven't realised it, but you're just a naturally fit person." And it didn't take long before that was it. I was training 5-6 days a week.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I just that went on for a few years and was a massive part of my life from say 28 until I was like 32.
Wow.
Training 5-6 days.
I think it is something to say about that. There's a I had years at university where I was doing kind of fitness every single day with 10 guys. It was a routine.
Yeah.
And I think when you slip out of that routine, it's, you're going, there's no focus.
No.
And I think hearing what you're saying there in terms of having that guy who was willing to invest in you, who was then putting that focus on and you wanted to get fit and he spotted something in you and encouraged you, that seems like
I think telling me I was naturally fit was like a little turning point, because I was like, oh, am I? And then, I think about it and I've come out of everything in pretty good condition.
Well, it's an encouragement, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and then I really did. I wanted to push it and I wanted to see how fit I could get. And, I was still drinking quite a lot. I was still smoking a lot of weed.
Yeah.
So I wasn't living this super healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I was, still, when I turned up at the Navy, I was one of the fittest there out of 40 odd years. I was the oldest and I was in the top 10 fitness.
So you joined the Navy when you were how old?
32.
32, which for those who are listening is quite late. I was, I thought it was going to be had to be in by 30, but you're saying 39.
30, day before your 38th birthday.
38, there you go. So, so you got into the Navy, and you were saying earlier in the first part of this conversation, Ricky, how you had to. Was it fitness tests you were doing to get in, and then was it quite a hard trial?
No, the fitness test it was a breeze, like for the Navy. It's not the Marines or anything. Do you know what I mean? But I turned up really fit, and I found all of the fitness stuff an absolute breeze.
So what drew you to the Navy? I guess
not getting shot at. I was 30,
being in the good boat.
Yeah, I was 30. I was 31 when I applied, and I sat and spoke to everybody. And the Army, I would have been frontline. The RAF, I was never going to get into, and the Navy, which was what I wanted to do anyway, because I liked traveling, because I'd moved about so much. I always had the bug that it would be nice to go.
I guess,
and I'd never left the country. Well, I'd left once when I was 21 and did that Namibia thing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I spoke to the Navy, and they let me in.
So what did you go in as?
I went in as somebody that sits and watches the radars, but I changed halfway through my basic training, and they changed me to an aircraft handler, which is the people that wave the bats about on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier.
So you were in the Navy for 13 years?
Yes.
And how did your role change in that time?
What, my job role?
Yeah, your job role, yeah.
You do lots of different things in the Navy. You change every 2 years and go to a new unit or a new sort of job, and I was a firefighter. I was a fully trained firefighter doing air crash rescue on an air base when I wasn't at sea, and then I was a member of crew on the QE before I left. Okay. So I was the first lot of crew, took it out of build. And other than that, I was a support force quite a lot, where I would just get dropped onto little different ships all over the place.
So have you spent time, I guess, for people who are maybe not familiar with how the Navy works, you spend time on land at a base and also on a ship?
Yeah, I would spend usually like 18 months on a base, 2 years on a base, and then 2 years going to sea.
On the ship?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So what was it like living on a ship? And we've probably all heard the stories of the cramped conditions and stuff. How did you find it?
Well, I mean, you get a little curtain on your sort of bunk bed. You've got a little curtain, and you close the curtain, and you're in your own little space. Yeah. And other than that, you've got the mess where all the lads sit and watching films and stuff.
So did you find that you found it quite an easy thing to adjust to being at sea?
Yeah, I loved being at sea. I miss being at sea. Yeah. I've got nothing real negative to say about my time in the Royal Navy. I left, and I was sick of it when I left, and I'd had.
But you were ready to leave.
I was just ready to leave, but the Navy saved my life.
Wow, it's amazing.
Without question.
Well, I think we were talking a minute ago about the routine and the fitness, and obviously
the fitness was great.
Yeah,
but I was bouncing from crap job to crap job, and I was 31 years old, and I was running out of time, and I knew that as well. I knew that I didn't have a career. I was washing dishes. I was doing one job for 6 months and leaving that and doing another job for another. I was working, doing flipping typing and clerical, which just isn't me. Or I'd be in a call centre, or I'd be in a kitchen, and
so you wanted the routine, and that's what the Navy gave you.
I wanted a career. I wanted a job that was going to pay me enough, and also that I could stay at. So I'd applied to be a postman. The job interview went really bad. No, the job interview went really well, but then they asked me whether I had the right ID, and I didn't. So they chinned me off and said, you'll have to come back in 3 months. And I left that job interview really annoyed, rung my wife and said, I'm going to the careers office to see if I can get into the forces, because I've had enough. So that's where I was. I just had enough.
So the post office was the final straw.
Yeah, the post office.
You went, I think many would say that was probably for them as well. Anyway, so you joined the Navy and did all these different roles. What was your favourite place that you travelled?
Greece.
Greece, okay.
Greece, yeah.
And why? What was going on
Greece
there?
is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But ticks in the box. I went to, my very last trip, I flew back from Guam. There's not many people get to say that they've been to Guam.
Yeah. Was that on a Chinook? What were you flying back on?
No, we flew back on jumbo jets.
Oh, jumbos, okay. Cool.
We went out to Guam on a ship, and then they flew me back via Alaska.
Wow.
That was the end of my time. That was my last trip. We went all over Europe. I've been all over the Middle East.
Yeah. So lifelong friends from the Navy?
Yeah, not really. Do you know what? No, not really. I've got one.
Honestly, there we go.
Yeah, no, yeah. I've got one. I wouldn't say they're not friends. If I go down to Cornwall, there will be people that come and meet me straight away.
Comrades.
But
not best friends. No,
not best friends.
No.
But I mean, I joined at 32.
Yeah.
With a group of friends that I'm still friends with now, that I've been friends with for years. My best mates, I'm in that situation where I might not speak to my best friend for a year, but as soon as we see each other,
it's like that, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like family kind of thing. So
Wow. So any kind of hazardous stories whilst in the Navy? Anything that was like, wow, that was a crazy moment that you recall from your 13 years?
Do you know what? I had quite a boring career.
Really? Okay. Okay, no worries.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No worries at all, man. Yeah.
No.
So in terms of serving, you were serving in the Middle East and then, Mediterranean, I guess, and other places. Did you feel at any point, you felt, did you feel seasick or wanted to be back on land, or was it very much...
No, I've never been seasick. I've never been seasick.
You're a rare specimen then.
I've never been seasick. I can't stress how much I loved being in the middle of the ocean and looking around me and seeing nothing but sea. It's something that I miss a lot, and hopefully, I'm hoping that my new career with the wind turbines takes me back out to sea eventually.
Wow, yeah. Well, that's where a lot of them are, aren't they?
Yeah. So I missed my kids. I missed my wife. Do you know what I mean? I did miss them, but at the same time, from where I was in life to all of a sudden being sat on a flight deck in the middle of the ocean.
Absolutely, yeah.
In blazing heat.
And how did you keep in touch with people? What's the kind of format?
Emails, telephone.
Yeah. I guess they've probably got Starlink now on the ships.
Yeah, they've got Wi-Fi and all sorts now. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the
easy.
Old days. It's not. Yeah, it's there was, before I left, I could WhatsApp my daughter and stuff like that. It made the world a difference.
Yeah.
So
because it's interesting. We were just talking off the recording beforehand about your kids, and you've obviously got 2 kids, which is great. How did you find that communication with them while you were away? And obviously we talked about being a dad and how that's different for you and the way you want to do it compared to your experience growing up.
Yeah. It's hard. That is, if you've got young kids, it's hard being in the forces and working away.
Yeah,
that's part and parcel of it. You do miss.
Kind of buy into that, don't you? I guess with that career.
Yeah, it's the way it goes, and everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah. Quite literally.
Quite literally, yeah. But do you know what I mean? Everyone, when you're away,
everyone's
you're not. You know, if you see someone like my best mate in the Navy, who I am still friends with now, he was like the happiest guy on earth. He was never ever miserable. He didn't understand the concept of it. And I remember after he'd had a baby, I remember finding him in his bunk bed, and he was looking at me. He was like, "I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I just I feel like really sad, and I'm looking at pictures of my like kid and that." And I was like, "You're depressed." Same as the rest of us.
He had something to miss out on.
This is how we've all been feeling for like months.
With the program.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy, man. Yeah. Wow. So 13 years in the Navy, and then that came to an end. You just felt it's time to get out, get into another career, and it's amazing. I mean, the amount of things you've been involved with up to now, Ricky, in 49 years, done more than many people would do in their whole lifetime. But you're in a new career now. You've got two things going on, really, haven't you? From what you were sharing.
I've got two things going on. Yeah. One of the things that happened in the Navy is that midway through, I always had some little project outside of work.
Okay.
So that...
Well, the hustler, it's been in you from the start.
Yeah. So what happened, I got given a family's day to help run, and I got asked to go and find children's entertainers or something to keep the kids entertained at this family's day. And I came back with like a fairground, basically. That I found this company that said, "We'll come out and we'll put all these rides together."
On the ship?
No, this was on the airbase. Okay. And it was way more than what it was supposed to be. And then I got asked to see if I could get a helicopter brought down, a Chinook brought down for the adults to have a look around. But I got them flights on the Chinook.
So they were expecting just a bouncy castle, and
so they were expecting one thing, and I sort of organised something a little bit more. And then one of my friends, sadly, called John Ermson, passed away, and I ended up helping organise his funeral. And again, I started organising people and making sure that we all got up there, and we did some fundraisers. And then I got asked to do a raffle, and again, the raffle I was supposed to just go and get some local prizes, and I ended up with like £9,000 worth of prizes, and it became clear that I liked being busy, and then
developing ideas and stuff.
And then I set up a charity. When I was in Yeovil, I set up a charity. I set up a soup kitchen along with other people, but I set up a soup kitchen that then turned into like a homeless charity of its own, and sort of people were then noticing, like, Ricky's like doing stuff.
He's pulling people together.
He likes doing stuff. Yeah. And sort of like what you said, pulling people together. I like to be in the middle of everything and just see bits of the jigsaw. And
absolutely,
so if you go there and you go there, and you all do what I want you to do. I've got this really good idea, and that's what's happened with HoodEx.
So you've developed a charity basically, which is helping young people and mentoring them. Amazing.
Well, after that happened with the charity that I did it for in Newcastle, it turned out to be a bogus charity.
Right, okay.
And with me and somebody else, we reported them to the Charities Commission. They got shut down.
Right.
And that was really bad for me, because I'd left the Royal Navy to do that. So
you put your name to it.
So that was really bad. But because I'd sort of accidentally come across that thing where I was running a shop with young offenders, and then we was all getting fit together, and that kept everybody out of trouble. I was like, right, I'm going to do it on my own. So I bought 100 hoodies, and I booked a market stall in South Shields. And
the hustle, there it is. Start from nothing.
Started there. Started in South Shields in a market stall with 100 hoodies.
How long did it take to shift those?
I don't think we shifted them all.
Really?
I think that it was good for PR, because I got the local press to come down and take pictures, etc. But we didn't sell many. We didn't sell many at all. Yeah. But then I managed to get a shop in the metro station, because there was loads of antisocial behaviour there, so I convinced the metro station to give me a shop for free.
Wow.
And then I convinced Heron Foods to give me a building that they had that we turned into our gym, and they gave me that for free for a year.
A lot of free things.
And then it all went wrong.
Yeah.
Because I was in charge of it, and it was a CIC, it was a business, and I was supposed to be running it, and I was way out of my depth, So I got somebody in who has turned it into a registered charity.
Great.
And now there's other people that take care of all the important stuff. And
it's good to have a team.
Flit about.
It's good to have a team. I can relate to that in terms of having a vision for something is very different to making the vision happen.
Yeah.
And so, I can totally relate to that, Ricky. But no, it sounds awesome. So just to recap, for people who want to find out about HoodEx, they can go online.
HoodEx.charity,
.charity, and social media, they can find out
social media, the HoodEx charity, or the HoodEx hub on Facebook.
And if people, so in terms of helping people? How many people do you have coming through the doors at the moment?
We're still early doors. So at the moment, I've got 5 or 6 volunteers. We've got the boxing club upstairs, which is, again, it's only operating for a few weeks, but I think we're already up to like 12 members.
Are you gonna have a ring?
Yeah, we need it all. We need everything. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel like there's a challenge coming on.
Well, if somebody can get me a ring.
Wow,
we're buzzing. No, £1.50 minimum.
Wow.
they're not cheap. Well, I had it all. I had all of this in South Shields. I'd already done it once, and I got everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into it, but that equipment all disappeared.
It all changed,
it's gone somewhere else. I don't know where it went, but certainly not with me. And now I have to do it again. Yeah, so. But again, we've took over that space. We've got the flooring down. We've got some punch bags up.
Great.
We've got some gloves. We've got some pads.
Great, amazing.
I need a ring.
Great. Well, I'm sure when that ring arrives, I'm sure it'd be great to come and do a visit and check out.
Yeah, please
check out what's going on with the charity HoodEx, which is in North Shields.
North Shields, yeah.
No, fantastic. Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to coming and visiting and just seeing the work in action. And of course, you're basically 50 now. So you've done all this stuff. Yeah, you've done all this stuff until 50. The next 10 years, any ideas, any crazy ideas that are about to drop? I've started training again because we're doing HoodEx and because there's a gym there and everything. Yeah, I knew I sensed a challenge coming on. Yeah, I've started training again. Yeah. And I just want to get as fit as I possibly can and just be like really fit 50-year-old. Wow.
And do my 50s very fit. Because I lost, the bit that I've missed out is that when I joined the Navy, all that fitness that I'd done, I threw away and I became a really bad alcoholic for the best part of that time that I was in the Navy. Yeah. Sobered up 3 years before I left.
Wow, okay.
So now, I just want to push the boat out and try and get as fit as I possibly can.
Amazing, cool.
For my 50s.
Cool. Well, we're going to leave it there for our final break for the final instalment of this conversation. We will be back shortly, but chat soon, Ricky.
Okay.
This episode of the Inside Story podcast is proudly sponsored by Bread Media. For all your content creation, social media management, documentary and commercials, contact Bread Media on all social channels and find out how they can serve you. Ricky, final few minutes. Got some cool questions for you as we wrap this. But I've really loved chatting and actually hearing about your story across up and down the country and around the world, Middle East, Mediterranean.
Yep.
Hearing about Greece as well.
Yep.
How have you got through it all? What has been the drive for you, kind of pushing you on? Is it, I talk to a lot of people. Is it faith? Is it friendships? Is it your personality? Is it a spiritual angle? What's got you through?
No, I think. Do you mean like how you've got through the hard times? And
you've gone as we talked about. You've gone from being brought up in care, challenging time, homeless, being in turning to fitness, which is great, and not having a male role model throughout this, and then the Navy.
Do you know what I think got me through it is the fact that I always mess around. Like I think that my sense of humour. Even when I was homeless and stuff, I was always messing around. I was always like making other people and myself laugh and just class-arsing about and not taking things seriously. I don't take very much seriously. I think that's like sort of my superpower is that, I've managed to go through it all and not, I don't, sometimes it works to my disadvantage that people think that I don't take anything seriously, which isn't true, but I don't take a lot of things seriously.
Yeah.
I'm in a good mood most of the time.
Good. Yeah. Well, you've been in a great mood.
Yeah.
For this chat, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah. I've always been quite confident.
Yeah.
I can always talk to people.
No, great.
So I don't know. There's no faith.
It's been having a positive mentality and a kind of.
Yeah, and in later life, sort of this stage in my life, I'm grateful that I've been through those times.
Mm-hmm.
I take a lot of experience from being homeless that stops me getting depressed now because nothing's really that bad.
Yeah,
everything's temporary.
So here's a really interesting one, just straight off the back of what you just said there. You were homeless for 10 years.
Yes.
Around that. If you were to speak to someone who was homeless now, apart from obviously come into my club and get involved, what would you tell them to kind of get them through or get them out of the situation.
Just don't give up. Like, don't think that that's it. Don't think that this is your lot. That this is it. Because there was a point where I thought that, like, you think, oh, this is it. This is just my place in life.
Yeah. You're always going to be there.
But yeah, you're always going to be. But what I realise now is that, next year my life could be wildly different than it is now, because I might meet one person and you go off on this weird trajectory where, suddenly life's an adventure.
It is. I mean, it's interesting. People often say to me, David, what's your 10-year plan, 20-year plan? I say, well, actually, there's certain things happening in my life now. I'm still got a lot to go, God willing. But, planning even 1 year in advance is enough. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And genuinely, life is an adventure, and I'm trying to do as much as I can. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to do nothing. I want to do more things before I die. People think I'm mad because I say that I want to end up in the North Pole at some point.
No, you're not mad. We'll have another podcast.
I don't understand why I can't. Do you know what I mean? Why, if the right things fall into the right places, I don't understand why I couldn't end up taking a bunch of these young people to the North Pole. So,
and people don't realise you're only 4 or 5 degrees separated from that opportunity. So no, I mean, it's a really cool idea. I don't see it as crazy because I take a lot of people into some crazy places. That's a separate podcast in itself. But yeah, pretty awesome. And I hope that happens one day. Jumping into, you were saying at the start of your life, people would often assume maybe that you're in an Indian, kind of from an Indian community, and your kids are involved in Sikhism. Is that right? What is that? What is your understanding of that religion, and is it something you're happy with them just to be involved with?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a religious person myself.
Yeah.
If you was to ask me, I would say that I'm not a fan of religion. As controversial as it may sound, I think some
opinions are free.
Some religions are better than others.
Yeah.
Sikhism is, from the bits that I've learned, because I have been to the Sikh temple, I have spoke to them.
The Gurdwara, it's a Gurdwara.
Yeah, the Gurdwara. I've done a couple of educational visits where I've taken friends along. I took the Royal Navy along when we was up in Glasgow.
Oh, wow.
We all went for a day out. We all went in our uniform, etc., because I sort of explained that I'm not, but my wife was, and they invited us along to Glasgow's Gurdwara, which was just insane. Like, it was so nice. And
so very sympathetic to it, but just not kind of involved directly yourself.
I'm not a religious person, so I'm not going to sort of be a hypocrite. But there's certain religions that I'm not concerned that my children are involved in the Sikh religion. I think it's a good religion.
So would you say that you said you're not religious, which is absolutely fine. Does that mean you wouldn't believe in a God kind of thing? You don't think there's a God kind of thing? Or?
I don't think that there's somebody that's watching me right now that knows what I'm doing.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's judging me.
Yeah.
If they are judging me, well, I'm judging them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I get to judge you. I don't think that there's some all-controlling, all-knowing, all-being.
Yeah.
Because if there is, they're a terrible, terrible, terrible entity.
It's an interesting question, and actually we have some of our podcasts actually have been on religion, and actually is there a God, and what are their worldviews and stuff. Obviously, Sikhism is a we haven't got a clue what reality is. Yeah.
We've not got a Scooby what's going on. So I don't think that this is everything, that you die and then it's over. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just from some experience,
I'd agree with you on that one. Yeah. I definitely think there's more than just this.
There's
material.
There's more than meets the eye. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested in the mind. Mm-hmm. I've experimented with lots of drugs growing up, which opened my mind to certain
different things.
Theories, if you like. And I know that there was points after doing certain things that my mind felt bigger than it did before I did them. So. Is the mind measurable? If it is, then is it a real place? But that's again.
Well, there's a whole podcast on the kind of mind, body, and soul, and that duality, and is it connected? Is it not?
Spirituality. Like, I remember when I was sobering up, I was speaking to the doctor on board our ship about sobering up, because I was going to AA. AA can be
during the time that you're in the Navy.
Right. While I was in the Navy, not on the ship, but just while I was in the Navy, I sobered up for the Navy helped me get sober as well. They threw a lot of support behind me. Okay. They put me on meds and all sorts.
That's great.
Yeah, they gave me like a year out to try and get to grips with things, because I was in a really bad way from the drink.
Right.
And just AA is quite spiritual, and it's saying that a lot of people that are drinking
it's the 12 steps, isn't it?
Yeah, 12 steps are spiritually broken, which I kind of understand. And the doctor explained to me that actually doctors have to do a whole module on spirituality. And I see spirituality as like the human spirit kind of thing. Yeah.
Interesting. So. No, really cool, man. Great. And in terms of, we talk about kind of what you kind of would say to someone who was kind of homeless. If you were to speak to your 10-year-old self, what would you say to them?
Oh, my 10-year-old
your 10-year-old self. What would you say to them?
Brace yourself.
Brace yourself.
Get away, go away, run away from everyone. Just do it on your own. I don't know. 10. Bizarre. 10's like a year before I suddenly got uprooted and moved to the northeast of England.
Turbulence.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Real turbulent time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'd say. I'd probably just try and kidnap my 10-year-old self and run off with him, take him somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, 3 things I've gathered from our conversation is your resilience, your hustle, that drive to keep going, and what you also said there about that joy, having that joy and laughter and positive.
Yeah, man. I just faff about and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Try to as much as I can.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Good stuff. Well, guys, we're going to bring it to a wrap there. Thanks so much, Ricky, for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm sensing that there might be a visit to the boxing ring at some
gym.
point. And we'd love to come and see what you're doing down there. And if people want to find out more about HoodEx and stuff, they just go online. Is that right? Just
go online, HoodEx.charity. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can look for me, Ricky Gleeson. Cool. I don't really separate the two. So.
No, great, cool. Well, we'll be putting links to the charity and the website on this podcast, and so if people want to check it out, they can. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever on all these platforms. But wherever you are in the world right now, thank you for being with us on the Inside Story podcast, and thank you, Ricky, for joining us this time in this season we're in, this crazy world that we're in the UK right now and in the world. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching the Inside Story podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. To support the channel and to help us grow, please do follow and subscribe using the button just below. Thank you for watching.